Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Good evening, everyone. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, the master of the deceptive arts, and I return to you once again as the proud voice of the Vasectomites. And yes, it's that time of the year once again where the bright eyes and bushy tails of young and impressionable youth begin their way off to college. And that's really what I wanted us to talk about today. It's about how to get your young high school graduated child prepared and set up, ready to go for that first day of college. But not only that, the cost of how much that's going to be. I was going to talk about something else. I was going to talk about something quite morbid, and quite frankly, it was unpleasant. That is until I stumbled upon a jewel of an article. I mean, an absolute gem. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? I'm going to just jump right into it. It's all about college students, a new trend, a new online trend from a platform that I was summarily kicked off and permanently banned from, with no regrets, completely worth it. But what they're doing, the youth of today, is they're hiring interior decorators to decorate and prepare their dorm room to make it habitable and livable for when they go to college, right? So I imagine, and we're going to discover together, that you would hire this professional and they would go ahead, do the shopping and all that, come back and set up the whole room perfectly, and all your child has to do is just move in to a certain quality of dorm room, if you will. My heart sank with disbelief. My heart sank when I saw the numbers and the price associated with setting up your child's dorm room, the cost of an interior decorators. This is not just for the ladies; it's also for the boys. You know, boys like high tech stuff and all kinds of things on like their workspace with multiple screens. They also have all that stuff. On the screen, what we have is, I believe, a young lady's room, what a young lady's dorm room will look like, decorated with all kinds of comforts and features. Pillows, bedding, bookshelves, more than just the standard bookshelf. The table isn't your standard table, right? There's all kinds of things: technology, lighting, decorations upon decorations upon decorations, right? That's what this is all about. When I saw the price, I just couldn't fathom paying that amount of money. But it wasn't just because I saw the price. It was also because I understood how realistic, how probable, how feasible this actually really is. Like that is the number. That's the number. It's around. They say it could cost something around between $5,000 and $20,000 just to set up the room nice. Like I think for about $20,000, you've really done something spectacular to your room, right? But around $5,000 is really what you can expect. Well, on the minimum, just to set this up, right? This is just what it costs to be able to move in to the dorm room, right? This. Let's say 20,000. I'm gonna work with the extreme, $20,000. This is just what it costs to walk through the door and be able to sit down should you choose. So you could sit on the bed, you could choose sit on the tables, you choose to sit in the chair. Now, while you digest those hidden figures, let me tell you that this cost is the minimum. It's only going to get higher from here in various ways, right? I mean, you know, just even if you just get a car, just on top of all of this, just add a car, right? How much is that? 50, 60, $70,000 and up. I mean, this could easily, just the setup alone, with a car and all kinds of things, credit cards for expenses, blah blah blah. It could set you back 100 grand easy. I mean, a car for, let's say you set up the dorm room. Let's say you one of the better offs, right? You're rich. You set up the dorm room for 20,000. You get a car for 50 grand. Insurance, how much is that? There you go, 100,000. You're insuring what? A teenager for a car with $70,000 who's on his way to where? College? Forget about it. That insurance is gonna take you to the cleaners. You hear me? You're insuring a teenager with a luxury vehicle on their way to college. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know where to begin. Just having a car in college is a problem. Having a car, any run down, beat up vehicle at university will do it. Luxury vehicle, 50, 60, $70,000. Forget about it, man. Forget about it. No way, no way. That's just extreme. You can hit $100,000 just like that. You can hit $100,000. You haven't bought not one crumb of bread, not one scrap of food, nothing. Nothing to drink, nothing to eat, nothing to wear. Just the setup, just the background. Just the background where your child will interact if they so choose. Right? Just off the top of my head, I can already think of a few things that'll add up, like beyond the car and all that, to just $1,000. Laptop, phone, tablet, smartwatch, and a pair of shoes. There you go. $1,000. Just like that, $1,000. One decent laptop, phone, tablet, a smartwatch, and a pair of shoes. All of these will come from the fruit company, right? Fruit company electronics. And the fruit company will supply all of that. Earphones, they'll supply speakers. The fruit company will give you external hard drives with extra memory for backups just in case, all kinds of things. That's $1,000 right there. And you've barely filled up a backpack worth of stuff, let alone the back seat of a car. Just the backpack is $1,000 worth of stuff. And these are just the non-negotiables. These are the fundamental basics. And then the costs just mounts and duplicates and multiplies exponentially to the ultimate degree, to the ninth degree. And I know this from my personal experience. I can vouch for this cost on my own personal experience. I literally watched my parents bankrupt themselves. I mean, finished, right? Just trying to put me through those years of university. And this is a temporary experience, right? 3, 4 years, 4 years you're going through university, right? 4 years, bankrupt, finished. I mean, absolutely finished, right? They even got to a point, right? And this is like a vague memory to me, right? Because I was at university, being all preoccupied with university life. For the most part, I had no idea, right? For the most part, I had no idea. But they got to a point, if memory serves well, where they even ran out of people to borrow money from, right? And they ran out of favors to ask. They just had to grind it out. They just had to grind it out, you know. And to be honest, not only did I have really no idea of the implications and the magnitude of it, and I suppose I have an inkling of it now. But quite frankly, I didn't care, and I still don't. And I really don't care, right? And what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a lot of parents go through that same thing. And you have to make a choice for yourself. Are you going to get a vasectomy and freeze your sperm, or are you going to go through this? And I know the humane thing, perhaps is the word to use, humane thing, would be to have some empathy for them. But I do not. I'm now a vasectomate. I understand that they had a choice. They could have chosen to protect themselves, but they didn't. They played a very expensive game, and it cost them everything. And to this day, I'm not even sure what they benefited. I really could not tell you what they gained from it, from that whole experience. But once they were in it, they were in it, man. And there's no way out. There's only through. The only way out is through. There's no pivot. There's no pivot. It's through. You go through, or it's abject failure. And you pay for that failure. Now I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And I knew what that opportunity was, and I knew what that opportunity meant, and I took it. And I took it. Now, perhaps I wasn't fully aware of what that opportunity meant, or perhaps I wasn't fully aware of what it was costing to provide that opportunity, not in the full scope and magnitude of things, but I was aware that it was a good opportunity. And quite frankly, I have no idea where I would be without it and what I would be without it. And for that, I'm forever grateful, right? One thing for sure, I wouldn't be here with you fine, delightful people today. I wouldn't have, I definitely would have probably never got a vasectomy. I may have wanted one. I may have wondered about it, but I probably wouldn't have done it. And I wouldn't be the Bachelor Supreme, the Ancient One, the Phantom Menace, the Master of the Deceptive Arts, who remains, he who remains. I would not have remained. I know. There are certain things in life where, I've heard people say things like, okay, degrees are useless. You don't need a degree to make money, blah, blah, blah. Good for you. Good for you. You went and got a useless degree that you couldn't use to get money. That is your problem. I, on the other hand, got a very functional, useful degree, and I'm using it right now without your knowledge. I'm using it in every single video. I use it all day long, all the time. My degree has been the difference in my life. I'm not even trying to be funny. It has opened the doors for travel. It has opened the doors to economics. It has opened the doors for every financial opportunity that I've gotten. And I have pulled stunts financially. Just the craziest. One of those was how I got my vasectomy. The way that I was able to do it, keep it off the books, pay for it cash, do all of that stuff. All that was funded through money that I earned from my degree. I don't even waste time. Whenever I do things that are outside my degree, I lose money. So everything I do is within and with and about and for and using my degree. And I promise you, even without your awareness, I am using that degree right now and I'll use it everywhere I go. One of the reasons why I try to take a generally serious approach to these videos and these presentations is because I know what it means to be discredited as a professional, so I try to uphold those standards, right? And part of that is because of my academic background and academic training, right? I reference everything. Every single thing I'll tell you where I got it from, the date it was published, who published it, which most people do not do. So yeah, I mean, so it's not so hidden, that you cannot see it. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. But for me, I'm not one of those flippant people. I'm telling you right now, go to university and get yourself a degree that you can use. Something that when you get it, it is worth the financial investment. I don't know how much money I've made and spent just from my degree, man, and I've squandered money just going to places, some places that I didn't even enjoy, but I went because I could afford to go, you know, and all that came from my degree. So for all you people who say you got a degree and you can't use it, that's your own problem. That's really, really your own problem. And you are probably part of the problem that we're going to discuss today, right? But for myself, I know that one of the things that had I not taken the opportunities that I had, and for them to then provide me the opportunities that I've had and utilize, I'm not a person who wastes an advantage. Really, I squeeze an advantage for all it's worth. And I'm telling you, this degree, I have squeezed it, and it continues to impress me. It really continues to impress me. And all I know is that I have to maintain the same quality and standard here, and I will conquer here as I've conquered everywhere else. It's just a matter of consistency and patience. And I have a ton of that, by the way, if you haven't noticed. But the truth is, and I shudder to think of this, the truth is that there's a chance that I can't even say the words. There's a chance that they may have made me bend the knee. I know. It's hard to believe. Okay, well, maybe not bend the knee, maybe not bend the knee exactly, But there is a possibility that in a different timeline, the ancient one could have been a knee bender. And sometimes I think about this, if multiple such and such as universes, timelines, and all kinds of things. There are all kinds of theories and philosophies, and maybe we'll discuss them one day. But if such a thing could exist, I wonder if there's not a version of me out there who bent the knee. Oh, I bet there's one that bent the knee. If I get my hands on that knee bender, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. But if there's a variation of me out there who bent the knee in an alternate universe or alternate timeline, I'm not going to be happy with that. Because he should have got a vasectomy. But you know what? I'm not going to feel sorry for him. I'm going to just tell him to get a vasectomy. And if I didn't bend the knee, the chances are I'd probably have some kids. I'd probably have some kids. I'd definitely have some kids. That's for sure. I know that for sure. But thankfully I don't. But I probably would. I really probably would. And I would have had almost near adult kids by now. I would probably be at a point or to the point where my firstborn child is either in or about to go to university. And my second and my third born would follow suit very soon. I would be headed towards a financial storm of epic proportions. I mean, the magnitude of which I cannot imagine having to face, despite realistically being able to afford it. Right? When I did the numbers, I thought, I could possibly pull this off. Right? I mean, with savings. But I'm looking at it from the point of view from a bachelor and a vasectomite, one who's never had to pay any bills. So I'm coming from a point where I have a lifetime of no bills paid. Ups and downs, but ultimately I just decided to focus on my savings. These investments, man, when they do pay, they don't pay enough. And most of the time they don't just pay. These companies aren't doing what you think they're doing, man. But still, this is where I would be. I would be in a situation where, now I haven't paid any bills, but I've been in a situation where I've had 18 years of bills, just epic bills. And then like a prom of some kind where I can't imagine how much prom costs. And you gotta do that 3 times. Prom for 2 boys and a girl, or 2 girls and a boy, or just 3 girls. Prom. Man, prom alone, man, we should do a breakdown on the cost of prom. But yeah, it would be a catastrophe for me, man. I can imagine what one child at university costs, but imagine having 2 or 3 kids at university at the same time. Or like consecutively. So while the one is doing their final year, the other one is doing their first year. So that one goes, and then the other one pushes on to their second and their third year, and the other one pops in. And now you've got 2 at the same time, doing 2 years minimum for double. And then in the final year, maybe you'll have 1. But by then, the cost would have gone up. Oh, yes. And don't think those university costs don't go up. They go up all the time. I mean, that is a financial nightmare. Just waiting to haunt you in your soul, in your spirit, in your dreams, in your wallet for eternity. And you must know that there is a very real and likely possibility that after everything you do, right, to domify your child, right, and to make them comfortable, right, and provide a certain quality of life for their university life, right, there's a very high chance and possibility that they fail, right? And that they just, they just fail. They just don't pull it off. By the way, the word domify means to. It is by the way the act of decorating a living space, particularly a college dorm room, in a stylish, expensive, trendy, modern, and personalized way, comfortable, often using curated decor and trendy products. For those of you that are interested, there is a website, dormify.com. That is dormify.com. Go ahead and visit dormify.com and they will take all your money. But while Dormify.com takes your money, just remember, your child, there's a possibility that they aren't even going to class. There's a high possibility that they aren't attending, they aren't reading, they aren't writing, they aren't listening, they aren't researching, they are not doing assignments, not coming to tests, that they don't even know their lecturers, right? And they may fail. They may fail at any time. They could fail in their first year, in their second year, in their third year, in their final year. They could pull it off all the way to the last 6 months with like 3 or 4 credits left, right? And I mean, some courses are like worth 8 credits, but they could have like 3 credits left and 6 months to go, one semester, and be forced not only to redo that course, but to redo the whole year all over again. Now I know you're thinking, oh, but how is this possible? If you just fail one course, you can come back and do that one course. It depends on when you fail the course. If you fail a first semester course, you proceed through your second semester and come back the following year for that first semester and complete that course. You'll be done by June and you can graduate by July, August. Let's say August, right? 60 days later, you'll be a graduate. Before the end of the year, you'll be out. But if you fail a second semester course, you have to come back and sit through that whole first semester and then register again in the second semester when that course is available. Sometimes if you fail only a second semester course, you can do another first semester course with the equivalent number of points, pass, graduate, and move on. Other times it's like a major. So you have no choice but to come back and sit through that. So you don't want to be playing around with your majors. Like, you do not want to repeat a major, right? You can, like these minors, you can switch them around just to collect points. Right? You could study a little bit of French, you could study a little bit of linguistics, you could study a little bit of, I don't know, African studies. That's why people have these strange courses. You ask yourself, why do you have a minor in African dance? You're like, why do you use that? You majored in economics and minored in African dance. Yeah, because he messed up a course somewhere in his second semester and had to come back and take a filler. And he didn't want to do something that was going to make him think, so he went and did some interpretive dance, right? And he was terrible at it, but they passed him anyway, right? These things happen. These things happen all the time, right? And someone has to keep paying for that. Someone has to fund this experience in a real and meaningful way. Your child could drop out to go and pursue some other dream. They could, start a band. They could want to be a writer. They could want to be a rapper. They may want to backpack across Europe on your dime. They may just be tired of college life, right? They may want to travel to Asia, for instance. They might just want to take some time to find themselves again and rediscover the passion they lost while they were at school not studying, while many of them were at school probably doing illicit substances. Your child may have spent that whole entire year after you dormify them, right, with stylish, trendy, and personalized deco. They may spend that whole year doing nothing but illicit substances. They may become an addict to various other substances, activities, get associated with unscrupulous characters, and of course, someone has to come and pay that bill. Someone has to come and clean up this mess and put out these fires. And who do you think that's going to be? It's going to be the father. You could dormify your child's life to the ninth degree, to the ultimate degree, and they could get pregnant on the first week of school. 3 days after you drop them off, your daughter's pregnant, and somebody else's 19-year-old son is the father. Just imagine that. Both these kids sent to school to do one thing, get a degree, and before they've even attended a full week's class, pregnant. This happens all the time. There are people, you meet them, you like them, 2 weeks later, they are gone. The following year, 50% of your friends are gone, and the other 50, the other 49%, they don't know if they're gonna make it. They really don't know if they're gonna make it. These things happen all the time, right? Anything can happen. And right now, there's somebody sending their child off to school for their first year, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just want to take in the world, cannot wait to get away from their parents, cannot wait to start living freely, staying up if they choose to, going out if they choose to. Or anything is going to happen. Anything is going to happen. And right now, this is the time where these kids are returning to school to start their real transition and metamorphosis into young adulthood. And I assure you, I can absolutely guarantee you, those of you that did not get your vasectomy, that did not freeze your sperm, this is going to be expensive. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be wild and unpredictable. It's going to be a crazy ride. You're going to sit there. You ever seen men who are perfectly fine and they just sit there, just dead quiet, listening to their daughters brag about their degrees, just sitting there thinking, oh my God, do you know what I went through? And all she does is talk about how brilliant she is and her degree. $100,000 down the drain in the first week, just setting it up. And I'm including a car, right? I haven't added up the phones. I haven't added up the internet, the phone bills, all of that. I haven't added all that stuff up, right? All the stuff that they're going to need. I'm hoping that this will all be mentioned in this article that we're about to read, right? And you're going to pay for all this. Oh, it is going to bankrupt you. University is going to absolutely exhaust you. You're going to be burnt out from the stress of parenting. You're going to be burnt out financially, emotionally, spiritually, economically. You're going to be finished, man. And then they fail. And then finally, after so much failure, it's going to hit you in the head. One day you'll be sitting there and you're going to have the best solution. You're going to have the best solution because then you're going to do what you should have done in the beginning. One, you're going to wake up and call your urologist. After you call the fertility clinic to freeze your sperm, then you're going to get yourself a vasectomy. Because this experience, it can happen to you twice. You're a man. You can have kids right now. You got a kid in university, bankrupt you. You could have another one on the way. And the same experience is going to repeat itself in 18 years. You can predict that. Only then you'll be paying a whole new bill. A whole new bill. Today's bill is 20 grand. You don't know what you'll be paying in 18 years. So go freeze your sperm, get a vasectomy. Then what you'll do is take that child of yours straight to the bank, put them on a high interest, high yield loan, long-term loan, burdensome, heavy, neck-breaking, back-bending student loan that they will never pay back. I mean, never pay back. And then you wash your hands of this whole situation and walk away. And while we read today's article, just think of all the things that aren't mentioned, along with all the things that are mentioned, and just think that, you know what? All you have to do is walk that one straight into the bank, let them put the loan in her name, let them put the loan in his name, and all you have to do is be the guarantor. That's all. And as long as they are living and breathing, they'll have to pay off that loan. This is the truth, right? A guarantor is somebody who says, if this person meets their demise or is incapacitated in one way or another, then you will be responsible for a portion of that debt, which is going to be way better than trying to domify someone. Way better than trying to domify someone first year, second year, third year, fourth year, master's, PhD. No way. No way. Too expensive. You're going to break yourself. You are going to break yourself. Just take them to the bank and let the bank deal with it. Best decision you'll probably ever make. So here it is, the article for the day. College students hiring interior designers is the latest trend in on-campus housing. Students are ensuring, this is the subtitle, students are ensuring that their home away from home is is an aesthetic heaven as sharing dorm room interiors online become increasingly fashionable. Oh boy. So now they're sharing them online. So now it's not just enough to have a nice dorm room. They're going to be taking pictures and posting them online. Trying to make that content creator buck, which doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you could have just taken that money from your parents and use that money, to live your life. But I suppose you were going to spend that money on this stuff anyway. And now that you've bought that stuff, you want to put it online and make it increasingly fashionable. This was written by Isaiah Maxino. Apologies for not having a space between the published. But yes, Isaiah Maxino, and it was published on August 3rd, 2023. And there's the website, townandcountrymagazine.com. Of course, you can see the link right into the article, which reads, on average, housing in college dorms in the United States costs around $10,000 a year. Housing in college dorms in the United States costs around $10,000 a year. I hope you're ready for that. That's a tremendous amount of money. A price tag heavily dependent on the city where the school is located. This is true. For New York City schools like Fordham University and New York University, expect to fork up around $20,000. That's where I got that number from, $20,000. Wow. Wow. And what does one usually get for the starting price of a Hermes bag? Half of a 20-foot by 12-foot room enclosed with white brick and cushioned by coarse carpets. That doesn't sound appealing at all. There are typically 2 twin-size wooden bed frames. Yes, this is a dorm room. And maybe a wooden desk that looks like it's been plucked from behind a TJ Maxx. And don't forget the fluorescent lights. Oh, yes, the lights. Because why not have a dorm room feel like a surgical one? So, yes, a standard dorm room. When I walked into my dorm room, there was a single bed. There was a table and a chair, and a bookshelf, and that was about it. So by the time I left, I had all kinds of things, TVs and all things. So, even if you move in and it doesn't cost you very much to move in, as time goes, you just accumulate stuff. I had like a TV and a little fridge, and the TV was on top of the fridge so I could watch it. Ended up with a little sofa. I had like a one-seater, um, a little sofa along with a chair that the university provided. But I like to sit back and chill on the sofa to be comfortable when I was reading. But yeah, effectively, and I bought a lamp. That light didn't really do it for me, right? That light didn't really do it for me, and I didn't have a view. I had just the most perfect, window, wide open window, but I didn't have much of a view. I had a giant tree in front of my window, so I just put a poster up instead of a beautiful sunset. But as the years went on, I accumulated way more stuff and just piled it into that little space. It's no, but then eventually, before I graduated, I moved out, and I have no idea what happened to any of that stuff. It's no secret that that university room and board isn't synonymous with luxury, and many modern college students are adamant about giving their accommodations a design facelift. That's what they're calling it. They're calling it a design facelift. $20,000. Their secret weapon? Bring in a professional, of course. Her parents were already good clients of mine, interior designer Patrick Mel. I apologize, Patrick Mel, for mispronouncing your name if I did. Tells Town and Country of a recent college art client. I designed her childhood bedroom when she was like 10, and so I kind of offered to help design her dorm room. The result was a home away from home. A cold Georgetown dorm room turned into a bucolic atmosphere. Bucolic atmosphere, I like that word. Light shades of green non-stick wallpaper evoking a peaceful meadow, hues of green and blue, sewn cloth cover over the lighting to look like a kite, and copious amount of Serena and Lily home accessories. Now, he uses the word copious, which means a tremendous amount and concentrated volume, right? A potent, strong, and tremendous amount of something. When they say copious, it's a lot and it's expensive. I like the words he uses to describe this haven here. This is how I would describe the sanctum of solitude, right? A other than a home away from home, but I would call it a home. They describe it, he says, light shades of green non-stick wallpaper, evoking a peaceful meadow. I like that. Peaceful meadow. Hues of green and blue. Sewn cloth cover over the lighting to look like a kite, like a toy, a playful environment. A playful environment in the sky. That's really right. And a copious amount of Serena and Lily home accessories. Luxury is what he's describing, right? This is how I feel in the sanctum of solitude. I think kids should go off and figure out themselves, but the beautiful dorm room probably helped quell any angst that comes with moving away. Like a home away from home, he says. What her roommate's side looked like, well, poor kid. So they only decorated half the room. They didn't do the other kid's side too. They only did the one person's room. Now, when I moved into the dorms, I already had a tremendous amount of experience in boarding schools. So I knew what to look for and what to look out for. The first thing you have to know is that all the single rooms are already gone. So what you have to do in order to get your own room for you university future students is you have to sort of stay there for a little while and keep an eye out for all the single rooms. So you need to pick out like 3 or 4 that you really want. And you have to keep your eye on that room every day while you're sharing with somebody else. And as soon as you get the inclination, the instinct, like the notion that somebody wants to move out or has to leave, you need to go to I don't know who it is, the matron, the maitre d', whoever is in charge of allocating rooms, and you need to tell them that you want that room. You need to go tell them that you want that room. As soon as that person leaves, right? So you have to tell them you want that room, right? This is a hell of a survival tactic. You have to let them know officially. But you have to do this before the person leaves the room. On the day that they leave, before they take their things out of the room, you need to have your things in that room. You need to have that key for that room in your hand. You need to go with him to the maitre d' to make sure that as he's about to hand over that key, you make sure that you're like, no, 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 no. Don't take this key. Take the other key for the room with the guy that's sharing. I'm in this room now. And then you gotta let them know, but I already moved my things in. And since he's moving, it's just a matter of switching names. Then you get your own room. It'll take a few months, but it's worth it. It took me a while to get my dorm room, the one with the tree, but it was either the tree or the other guy, and I chose the tree, right? So yeah, so it really gets like that because there's not only other people who want that room that are already there in the dorms. There is also a long waiting list, thousands upon thousands of people who are living in apartments and other places and sharing and squatting in other places that want that room. So you gotta make sure that you take it before it's even available. And that's how you get your own place. And when you get it, you never let that room go. You make a copy of that key and you make sure. One of the things that I did is I would move in like the weekend before to secure my room. So for instance, if the university dorms were open on Monday, I knew they would be made open for the school representative council and that kind of thing the week before. So I would be able to come in on like Friday and they would accommodate me. They'd say, well, we've had students already here coming in the whole week and we're opening next week. We might as well get you on the books before the rush starts. So they might appreciate you coming in a little bit earlier. You do have to pay for those 2 extra days, right? So it's like everything is paid for. You pay by the day in college dorms and university dorms. But once you have a room that you like, you need to make sure that you secure it. Because I promise you, you'll blink and it'll be gone. It continues, it says excessive, maybe, rare, not at all. Ooh, really? So while it's excessive to, do one room up to the hill, one half of the room up to the hills, the other half down in the gutters. He says rare, not at all. So this happens often. Mel's dorm room side project is a primary focus for other designers such as Don Thomas, who is the principal designer of After Five Designs. That's After Five Designs. Please go check them out. They too will take all your money. For 20 years, Thomas's Mississippi-based interior design company has focused on incoming university students who aren't interested in living in a stale box for 8 months. 8 months. That's how long this investment lasts for, right? And yes, it can be a stale box. It can absolutely be a steel box. I was fortunate, like I said, I had a great view that made up for many of those deficiencies. I still remember that room and think of it very fondly. I spent a very long time in that room. It says she and her company do everything from the early consultations to sourcing and even installing. It started 20 years ago, and now I do so much work for students at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Alabama. Thomas tells TNC. The South has always been synonymous with beautiful homes and interiors, and I think it's just natural for students to want the same in their dorms. So they want to bring the quality of life that they lived at home into their dorm rooms. Now, just think about this for a moment, because what you're doing effectively is you are building a life that took you 20 years to build, 25 years to build. You are now trying to duplicate that life at a much higher cost almost instantly. 8 months is what you get. And just think of like how long it took you to get your car and then pay it off, and get your house, just to get the house and then to pay it off, and then to furnish it and get everything in there. And as your kids grew, to keep changing that furniture and updating it to where they are now very comfortable and very stable in their young adulthood. And they want to take that to university. And it's possible, but it's very expensive. It's very, very expensive. But I also have clients in California, it continues, and on the East Coast and at Ivy League schools. Yeah, I can believe that. The price tag for this service varies significantly. It's really dependent on what I do. Sometimes I will stock toiletries, install mattress pads, hangers, and more on the top of the design element. I don't really upcharge for these items either. This cost of I would say 5 to 20,000. This is very realistic. This is not, okay, some of these things might be like luxury items that you don't really need. But I mean, just the electronics alone can run you 1,000. You add a TV and other things, now you need a subscription. You add internet. If the university internet is terrible, which it can be, right? Some universities, most universities have fantastic internet, 24 hours a day. But some places and in some spots and in some areas, it can be patchy. And if you have the money, I mean, if you got $20,000 for a room, there's no reason why you cannot supply internet for yourself, right? There's no reason why you can't get like your own private subscription, or I don't know what people will get. I mean, they can do anything for you with enough money, right? And this doesn't need to be like escalated or anything. Just collecting all the things that you want to have, right? Just collecting all the things that you want to have can cost money. Bringing them over, setting them up, and the labor cost of this designer. I mean, if you take his labor costs along with everything that he has to do, buying, shopping, setting up, designing, doing his professional work, he's not really getting a lot of money. Like he may very well be spending 15,000 setting you up and only pocketing five, which I mean, it's a fair commission, but you were going to spend that 15,000 anyway. What he's done is make sure that you spend it efficiently, because he knows what students are going to need. So you spend it efficiently in a way that minimizes surprises up ahead. So it's really worth the investment, actually, when you think about it. That doesn't make it cheap. Just because it's worth it doesn't make it cheap or affordable. In fact, that's what makes it probably expensive. And there's no real way of cutting this down. You can delay the cost, but you're not really going to cut it down. It says two of her clients include Maggie Claire and John, who hired After Five Designs, that's After Five Designs, to spruce up their dorm at Mississippi State University. By the way, I haven't been paid to say these people's names, but since they've provided the material for this platform, there's really no reason why you cannot go and visit their website. So one, I haven't been paid to say what their name is. After Five Designs, that's After Five Designs. I haven't been paid to say that, but they are in the article and they do provide a service that you may very well need. And I won't get any money from marketing them, so I suppose you can trust my opinion since it's free and worth exactly what you paid for it. It says the result was a southern crossover of Hollywood Regency and Art Deco styles, fully equipped with metallic bed sheets, brass lamps, abstracts painting, and neon lights of their names over their headboards. Oh my goodness. Listen to that, right? What do they get this child? Metallic bed sheets? They describe it as Hollywood Regency and Art Deco styles with metallic bed sheets, brass lamps, abstract paintings. That sounds expensive. And neon lights of their names on their headboards. Okay, fine. I'll let you have the neon lights with your names on the headboards. It's petulant, it's childish, and I hope you grow out of it. But if you want to have your name written all over, fine. That's your own problem. It says here, as of recently, I beg your pardon, I've noticed how educated these girls are, Thomas says. They'll come into these meetings with their mothers and know exactly the type of style they'll want. She describes that as educated. Their mothers always look so surprised to see how many photos of inspiration they have saved and the mood boards they've created. Now, this is very insightful stuff. The parents will, so the daughter already knows about this. It's a TikTok trend, right? They kicked me off, but still, it's an online trend. The girls already know about this, and they've screenshots and screenshots and screenshots and screenshots of exactly what inspires them. They've been dreaming about going to college. They have all the details. They know what their room is going to look like, what their car is going to feel like, what their friends are going to be like, the kind of boyfriend they're going to have and love life they're going to have, and how interesting it's all going to be. They already have that figured out. By the time they get there, they even know the names of the styles, the deco, the inspiration, like the era that it comes from, the country, the culture, and so on, right? And the parents have no idea that the child has been doing so much research. On the one hand, it's quite inspiring. On the other hand, it's quite troubling because you might think as a parent that one, your child is a little bit ignorant on these issues and this professional is coming to help, but the child has already got the money that they want to spend in their mind. And it's way higher than what you think. They already got the things that they know where they come from, and they can order them online on their phone. They just need the go ahead from you. And then, of course, not only do they get it from social media, they want to post it back on social media. Like college acceptances, dorm rooms have become a new hot avenue for flexing accomplishments on Instagram and TikTok, albeit more of aesthetic flaunt as opposed to academic achievement. So, it's a big deal. I mean, getting into dorm is a very big deal because if you have a place to stay in college res or university residences, you get like transportation, you get meals, you get access to really great facilities, gyms, and computer labs. Um, they have experiences, parties, all kinds of things, right? There's a real experience that comes to staying in dorm. You really become part of a community. You make friends very easily. Things are really accessible to you. So, like, if you're missing like study material, especially if you study something like economics, which a lot of people. So, if you like find yourself needing like extra material or other material, study material that you missed, maybe you missed a class, you missed a lecture or something, or some type of report, or you need like the professor's phone number or email address or that kind of thing. If you can't get that information nowadays, I suppose you can just get that information online. But there was a time when you couldn't, and you would need to get that information from somebody. In university, you always need to leverage other people's knowledge and information. And it's very easy to do that by going, upstairs or to another wing, or, down the hall to somebody that you know who might provide that information for you. So it really does become like a community, right? But here we're talking about like online situation where people are showing off that they're part of the residency life in their dorms rather than what they have done academically. Now, I mean, what you're probably going to find is, the university graduation rate is tremendously low, right? All over the world, university graduation rates are low. Acceptance rates are very, very high compared to graduation rates. So, this dormifying does not always result to academic achievement. This is what I'm taking away from this. The hashtags, hashtag dorm room and hashtag dorm deco, lead to videos of students showing how they've completely transformed the otherwise desolate landscape. They call it a desolate landscape. It can be. I mean, there aren't even sheets or pillows or anything, right? It's really like things that people could not take with them. That's what you find in a dorm room. The things that people could not take. There are plenty of plush pillows, upwards of 8 or so on a twin size bed, furry carpets, and even musical violin hang on to the walls. Musical, okay, I was going to say that should either be a musical violin hangs on the wall or musical violins are hung onto the wall. At least this is how I would have written it, but yes, so be it. But yes, this is what we're talking about. Just tremendous amounts of deco and the expenses. But is it really worth it? Having violins, having curtains that look like kites, all these things. Yes, the metallic sheets, the brass lamps, abstract painting, neon lights with your names. Does that really add up to anything? Does that really add up to a better experience? Maybe, as bragging rights or something, but I don't know if it adds up to a better experience. But I do know that you'll be spending a lot of time in that dorm room. So you might as well get comfortable, right? But I don't know. I don't know if all that actually adds up to what you want it to, which is academic performance. Now, not having it is problematic too. You don't want to be in a place where you don't have all the resources, all the supplies, all the materials, all the things that you need, and then you have to go around going upstairs, going downstairs to the other wing, going down the hall, right? Trying to find people with information. That's just as bad. So while it's a solution to some issues, it's not a solution to many issues. In fact, it can cause just as many problems as what you're trying to fix. When your best bet is probably just to go to class and get familiar with your lectures. No one can help you more than your lectures, right? Not your friends, not your family, no one. Not in a university setting, at least. For many of you, this is what you're going through right now. There are students who are starting in college. Some may have went last week. Some are still arriving to begin this coming week. It's really that time of the year, and some of you might be going through this right now. And just remember, like, you've had an entire summer vacation where all you've done is nothing but spend money. Just keeping your children entertained for what, 2 months? For 2 months over the summer vacation. Now they go back to school and it's another expense. I don't envy the life of a parent. It just sounds terrible when I have to be honest with you. I mean, now you've just finished the summer months, you're going into the new year, and there's going to be birthdays, celebrations, all kinds of things happening, and you're going to be paying for that. She's going to meet a friend, he's going to meet a friend, they're going to be best friends, it's going to be his birthday, you're going to have to spend money to buy the friend a gift that he's never going to see again. And then it's the festive season. November, December, January, gifts, 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 right? I mean, it's really going to get hectic for parents, right? And this is not to imply that I feel sorry for you, not at all, right? You could spend $20,000 decorating a room, or you could spend $1,515, $1,550. You could spend $1,550 getting a vasectomy. But no, you're going to decorate the dorm rooms. So be it. So be it. But don't ask me to feel sorry for you. I'm just delineating from observation, not from experience. I do not want to share your reality. You are in it by yourself, and I honestly hope that I hope those metallic sheets bankrupt you. Let's continue. But it's not only a case of competition. So now they're competing, right? Oh, that's even better. So now eventually they're going to start comparing prices, what costs the most. And if you have a daughter and she has something that doesn't cost the most, that's going to be a problem. So she's going to be trying to really outdo other girls on not just quality and look and appeal, but also on price. So it has to be the best, it has to look the best, and it has to cost the most. And you are gonna pay for that competitive spirit, right? Because you've instilled on them a competitive spirit to want to be the best and to win under all circumstances. And that victory is going to be very expensive. These videos also address the question of many incoming students who aren't able to afford to hire an interior decorator to decorate for their dorm room or for their dorm, or frankly think that spending the money on one is frivolous. Creators will often advise students on how to elevate their dorm rooms without having to spend a fortune, revealing storage tips and cheaper finds. To help brands such as Dormify, that's Dormify at dormify.com, offer furniture tailored specifically to university housing. On their website, there are even Pinterest-worthy examples of fully shoppable dorm rooms. Campus canopies offer canopy bed structures to those seeking both a bit of privacy and a dramatic aesthetic. So if effectively they're just advertising for their products. They're just saying that for those of you that think the price tag of 10,000, 15, 20,000 is too much, you could buy cheaper items and then get to 20,000 the slow way. But effectively, what they're telling you is that you have no option but to pay. You're going to need these things. That's what you don't understand. It's not just that they're expensive. You're going to need these things. And then you're going to want to pack them all up and take them all home again, right? And then return them again in 2 months, right? So the new academic year can start. Some of the things you're going to need to replace, but many of the things, if they are well taken care of, they may survive a year or two. So some of these things can be an investment, but many of them you're going to need to replace, along with textbooks and other things, right? So, and then what happens if you get a brand new dorm room? Right, so it's one thing like you get the dorm room that you wanted, which I was fortunate to do for a few years, right? I was fortunate to be able to play the system to work for me, right, and thereby have stability and that kind of thing. But at the end of the year, you really have to pack up all your stuff. Like you leave nothing. Whatever you leave in the dorm room, they're gonna steal it or throw it away, right? They're probably gonna just throw it away. Cause why risk my life stealing, trash? Cause most of it is gonna be trash anyway. By 8 months of being used up by a student, it's really not going to be worth much, and you're gonna need to replace a lot of that stuff and start again, right? There's even a new website and app, Rumi. That's Rumi, the app that helps students to measure and imagine their rooms on a digital platform before moving in. Think of how one builds a home in Sims. Okay, so you can design digitally these rooms, see how it's gonna look, and then I'm pretty sure they'll give you a price tag at the end of that, right? So, or give you some options, as you're choosing, as you're buying. At least that's how I would do. I haven't used any of these apps, but I would be able to, you select your items, you select your color, you select everything that you want. Once the room looks as close to what you want as possible, then they'll give you a price tag. And if that's too hard, they can give you out cheaper alternatives. So you can, keep having all the things that you want until you sort of get the to the price that you can afford. But it's not going to be less than $5,000. That's for sure. So they've really thought of everything. They said, I think the gentleman said that he has been in the business for 20 years. And I believe that's a magnificent business. If I have to be honest, like, while I'm shocked at the price, I'm really not shocked at the price. And I haven't knocked his business or criticized it. I know you're going to need all that stuff. I know you're walking into a room that practically has nothing. They are giving you a bed, a table, and a chair, and that's it. I think, yes, we had curtains. There were curtains. The university provided curtains, right? Very thick, very strong curtains, and they maintained those curtains. But other than the curtains, so you did, like, you could replace them too. Some people did. I didn't. I didn't care less. I had a poster there of the sunset, so most of the time my curtains were open, except when I was sleeping, right? So, well, that says a lot, right? But curtains are critical. Curtains are absolutely critical. I mean, there's a lot to think about, where you're going to hang your towels, and all kinds of things. And these people think about all that before you do. Because you're only going to think about where to hang your towels right after you finish showering. And then you're trying to hang your towel and you're going to realize you have nowhere to hang your towel. Those kinds of things. And then there's dishes, right? So while there's a canteen and a dining room where you can eat your meals, you're also gonna want to eat in your room, right? And some people might have like a small, electric stove or something. They can, make some noodles or whatever they want to make. But you're definitely gonna eat in your dorm room a lot. You're gonna eat a lot in your dorm room. So you're gonna need like dishes and cutlery, cups. You're gonna drink some coffee, some tea, whatnot. you're probably gonna have a fridge. I had a fridge. I had a fridge in my dorm room. It was off most of the time and it was empty. But then there were those moments where you need the fridge to be on, right? And then you need a fridge. So yeah, get ready to buy a fridge. In some ways, some of these things are foundational to young person's future lifestyle. Foundational, yes, but they won't last. You're going to need to replace all those things. Dan Mazzarini, principal and creative director of BHDM, that's BHDM Designs and Archive by Dan Mazzarini, tells TNC living away from home for the first time is a great opportunity. TMC, I beg your pardon. A great opportunity to explore your personal lifestyle. While college students may be on the budget, there are certain items worth investing a little more in. Now he's trying to upsell you. After all, you may be using some of these products after you move off campus or even after graduating. You're not going to use any of that stuff. All the stuff that you buy for a university student is either going to be outdated or run down. They are going to, if something happens to last 4 years, it is going to be well used, well used. And young people have a certain recklessness about them where they break expensive things and don't even know that they're breaking. Like they'll respond to an insult, and while responding to that insult, smash a tablet, right? And a fruit company, a fruit electronic company tablet, which is the most expensive tablet in the world, and they'll shatter that, and then you'll have to replace it. But ultimately, this is just an indication of a small taste of what you have to experience when you put your child through university. And you're going to have to go through this every year. So every year you're going to need to replace things that are gone. You're going to need to buy new things, irons, ironing boards, and all kinds of things. Extension cords, tools, things to fix things that break, right? Like super glues and other tools, and on and on and on. You're practically going to have to build a life for this person to live. I would say, there's two things here that you have to consider. You could put them in their own apartment, which is a terrible idea because then they're going to need a maid. Really, they're going to need a maid, someone to come in, clean, make sure that everything is okay. Maybe even somebody to stock the fridge and just take care of them, that they can live, at least in the first year or so. That is a terrible idea, right? Because they won't be able to wake themselves up. Part of being in like university is really, like I said, being part of in at least university dorms, it's being part of a community of people that are all doing the same thing as you. So in the morning, everybody's going to school just like you. And in the afternoon, everybody's coming back from school. Lunchtime, everybody's eating lunch. Everybody's in the class. So everybody's moving more or less in the same way and in the same direction. You get an apartment, nobody's moving that way. You have a class at 8 o'clock, in college. You could leave 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the class and still make it with time to spare, you know. But if you're living in an apartment, you may need to travel like an hour early just to beat the traffic. And there are people who leave for work 5:30 in the morning. Before 6 o'clock, they're on their way to work, right? And you may want to be one of those if you have an apartment. But if you're in college and you're at the campus, even if you stay at one of the residences that are off the campus, they'll shuttle you to campus every day. They'll put you on a bus, and that bus will take you there and bring you home every day. And you'll have people that are moving in the same way or trying to catch the same bus at the same time. That kind of situation. But again, this is no guarantee of success. You could do this and achieve failure, 1 year after another, one child after another, just flunking out of college, right? And all the while you're paying. All these things cost money. They give you the price right at the beginning of the article, and at the end of the article, all they do is talk about how happy you're going to be. And if your child passes all their courses, maybe you'll be happy. But chances are they won't. But again, this is not this is advice on the one hand, telling you your only solution is to freeze your sperm and get a vasectomy. Do that for yourself. But also, I'm not really here for any motivation or empathy. You're in it now. There's nothing I can do now. If you're already in the dorm room, well, there's nothing I can do. You've been in it for decades. By the time you stand in front of that dorm room, waiting to see what your money has spent, what your money has bought, that money you spent, what it has bought, in decorating with lights with somebody's name above their headboard, right? Okay. You're going to find out how much that money was worth. And, there it is, it's written Ancient One over above my head, and I'm going to put that all over the social media, right? And in a little while, we're going to see what the value of that is. So you're going to see what your money has bought, and you're going to see what the value of that purchase was. And I hope it's worth it. I really hope it's worth it. But I don't think it will be. You're better off just freezing your sperm, getting a vasectomy, protecting yourself and protecting your seed, and living in the solitude, the bachelor life, the vasectomy life. That's really where we are. You want to live the vasectomy life. You don't want to be the one who received this bill. You don't need that. You don't need that. Get yourself a vasectomy. It's a fraction of the cost of all this, and you'll be so much happier. This is the end of the video. Thank you for your time and your attention. Again, I appreciate it. If you feel so inclined, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment to remain part of the conversation. And as much as I can, I will read and respond to all of your interactions. Again, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. I am the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, and I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day.